Welcome to Smeagol's reading. My name is Smergal, brother of Smeagol, the smarter, more handsomer brother. Today we'll be reading The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. This is considered a classic. In fact, a wizard sold me this. So, shall we get reading? Okay, just gonna open it up. Ooh. This book is dedicated to my good friend and comrade, my wife. Smergal has no wife. Smergal lives alone. Oh yeah, I can't tell you what this looks like. Scarecrow looks pretty good. The lion looks, it's a little hard to see, it's a little faded, but the lion looks like he's on some kind of drugs. He's like, I like this. Dorothy and Tin Man looks okay. Toto's like, yeah, screw this guy. So, Chapter 1, The Cyclone. Ooh. Smergal once saw a cyclone. It took my fist. But that's enough. Dorothy lived in the midst of the great Kansas prairies with Uncle Henry, who may seem like an important character, who was a farmer, no duh. And Aunt M, why the E? You could just said M, like the letter M, who was the farmer's wife. Yeah, I'm kind of assuming that. Their house was small, for the lumber to build it had to be carried by wagon many miles because there's no trees anywhere. Stupid orcs cut down all the trees, I bet. There were 4 walls, a floor, and a roof. Smeagol lived in a cave, but Smeagol knows what house it's made of. Which made 1 room, and this room contained a rusty-looking cooking stove, a cupboard for the dishes, a table, 3 or 4 chairs, and beds. Did I really have to announce what a house looks like? I don't know. Uncle Henry and Aunt M had a big bed in one corner, and Dorothy had a little bed in another corner. There was no garret at all, no cellar except a small hole dug in the ground, called a cyclone cellar, where the family could go in case one of those great whirlwinds arose. Mighty enough to crush any building in its path, but not mighty enough to go underground. It was reached by a trap door in the middle of the floor, from which a ladder led down to a small, dark hall. When Dorothy stood in the doorway and looked around, she could see nothing but the great gray prairie on every side. Because they live in a prairie, I think it was established earlier. Not a tree nor a house broke the broad sweep of the flat country that reached to the edge of the sky in all directions. The sun had baked the plowed land into a gray mass, with little cracks running through it. Even the grass was not green, for the sun had burned the tops off those long blades until they were the same gray color to be seen everywhere. Basically, it's a world of black and white. Once the house had been painted, but the sun blistered the paint, and rains washed it away. Now the house was as dull as gray as everything else, because in this world, everything is dull and gray. When Aunt M came to live, she was young. She was a young, pretty wife. Used to be. Now she kinda looks like an ogre. The sun and wind had changed her too. They had taken the sparkle from her eyes and left them a sober gray. Okay, I think I get it. Everything is gray. This is a black and white world. This is gray, gray, gray. Now, taking the red from her cheeks and lips, they were gray as well. She was also thin and gaunt and never smiled now. So she's like one of those like little trolls or goblins. When Dorothy who was an orphan, first came to her, Aunt Em had been so startled by the child's laughter that she would scream and press her hands upon her heart whenever Dorothy's merry voice reached her ears. So she gets jump scared by Dorothy because Dorothy can laugh. Where was I? And she still looked at the little girl with wonder that she could find anything to laugh at. Smergal knows things to laugh at. Smergal laughs often, such as when Smeagol fell down the volcano. Uncle Henry never laughed. He had no sense of humor. He worked hard from morning to night and did not know what joy was. He was also... he's also gray! Everything is gray! From his long beard to his rough boots, and looked stern and solemn, and really spoke. It was Toto that made Dorothy laugh. You know, is Toto actually also gray too, because this is a really, really gray world. And saved her from growing as gray as her other surroundings. Sorry. Smergal's still learning how to read. Toto was not gray. He was a little black dog with long, silky hair and small black eyes that twinkled merrily on either side of his funny wee nose. Toto played all day long, and Dorothy played with him, and loved them dearly. Well, when you live in the prairie, that's all gray. There's not a lot to do. Even Smergal finds things to do. Smergal fish, Smergal read, Smergal ignore stupid traders. Smergal also trades with wizards, because wizards have books like this. Today, however, they were not playing. Uncle Henry sat upon the doorstep and looked anxiously at the sky, which was even grayer than usual, which is strange because everything is gray. Dorothy stood in the door with Toto in her arms and looked at the sky too. Aunt Em was washing the dishes. From the far north they heard a low wail of the wind, and Uncle Henry and Dorothy could see when the long grass bowed in the waves before a coming storm. Then there now came a sharp whistling in the air from the south. As they turned their eyes, they saw ripples in the grass coming from that direction as well. Yeah, because the storm was coming from that direction. Suddenly, Uncle Henry stood up. "There's a cyclone coming, he called to his wife. "Yeah, no doubt. I'll go look after the stock." Then he ran toward the sheds where the cows and horses were kept. Tangled says they're gray as well, because everything else in this world's gray. "Quick, Dorothy!" she screamed. "Run for the cellar!" That's my Aunt Em voice. I hope to never use it again. Toto jumped out of Dorothy's arms and hid under the bed, and the girls started to get him. Aunt Em, badly frightened, threw open the trap door in the floor and climbed down the ladder to the small dark hole. Dorothy caught Toto at last and started to follow her aunt. When she was halfway across the room, there came a great shriek from the wind, and the house shook so hard that she lost her footing and sat down suddenly upon the floor. Comfortably, I should add, because I'm pretty sure the floor is pretty comfortable. Smergal only has rocks to sit on. Wood floor is an upgrade. A strange thing then happened. The house whirled around 2 or 3 times and rose slowly in the air. Dorothy felt as she were going up in a balloon, like in the movie Up. Except this is a little bit weirder. The north and south winds met where the house stood, made it the exact center of the cyclone. In the middle of the cyclone, the air is generally still, but great pressure of the wind on every side of the house raised it higher and higher until it reached the very top of the cyclone. And there it remained, and it was carried miles and miles away as easily as it could carry a feather. It was very dark, and the wind howled horribly around her. But Dorothy found she was riding quite... Turn the page. Easily. After the first few rolls around... Well, just a stupid camera. Stupid Wizards gave me camera. Don't tell me how Smergal can use it. After the first few rolls around, and one other time when the house tipped badly, she felt as she was being rocked gently, like a baby in a cradle. That also means that you're probably going to die too, because, yeah. Toto did not like it, because he was a dog and dogs are jerks. They like to bark at everything. He ran about the room, now here, now there, barking loudly. See, told you, dogs like to bark. When Smergal comes to crops, dogs chase Smergal. Smergal want fish festivals. Tastes better with fish. But Dorothy sat quite still on the floor and waited to see what would happen because she has no survival instincts. You know, any way to look to okay, can I get out here? I would look around to see if there's a way out. It's pretty helpless, but at least it's better than sitting around doing nothing. Once Toto got too near the open trap door and fell in, at first the little girl thought she lost him. But soon she saw one of his ears sticking through the hole, for the strong pressure of air was keeping him up so he could not fall. Physics! She crept to the hole, caught Toto by the ear, and dragged him into the room again. After, closed the trap door so no more accidents can happen because Toto is an idiot. Hour after hour passed away, and slowly Dorothy got over her fright. But she still felt quite lonely, and also pretty bored. At first I'd be like, "Woo!" And then I'll be like, "Oh." And I'll be like, "Can we touch down now? Can I just either die or go on the ground so I can get out of here? I'm kind of bored. It's a one-room house that's all gray." Smeagol see gray rock. Smeagol don't want gray house. And the wind shrieked so loudly all about her that she nearly became deaf. At first she wondered if she would be dashed into pieces when the house fell apart. But as the hours passed and nothing terrible happened, she stopped worrying and resolved to wait calmly to see what the future would bring. At last, she crawled over the swaying floor to her bed and laid down upon it, and Toto followed and laid down beside her. See, even Toto's bored. I think Toto was just trying to get out of there just because he was bored. In spite of the swaying of the house and the wailing of the wind, Dorothy soon closed her eyes and fell asleep. She never woke up. So that was Chapter 1 of Wizard of Oz. Next time, we'll be reading Chapter 2. The Councils with the Munchkins. Which is not going to be Hobbits because Hobbit killed my brother and I have a grudge against Hobbits. So until next time, this is Smeagol, brother of Smeagol.